Today, we're diving into something truly fascinating, the architecture of feeling itself. It's an ancient framework from India called Rasa Theory, and believe it or not, it gives us a blueprint for how and why art can move us so deeply.
Just think about it for a second. That song that gives you goosebumps every single time? Or a movie that has you weeping? Maybe a painting that just fills you with this incredible sense of peace. You're not just looking at something, are you? You are feeling it. And that feeling, that distinct emotional flavor, is exactly what we're going to unpack today.
So at the very heart of this is the Sanskrit word rasa. It literally means juice or essence, or you guessed it, flavor. And in the world of art, it's the emotional taste that a performance or a painting leaves on your soul. Now, this isn't the raw, messy anger you feel when someone cuts you off in traffic. No, it's a refined, universal version of that feeling, something you can actually savor.
Okay, so how in the world does an artist actually make this rasa? Well, thousands of years ago, a sage named Bharata Muni laid it all out in a text called the Natyashastra, and he didn't just talk about it in vague terms, he gave us a recipe, a literal formula for manufacturing feeling.
And this right here, this is the master recipe, the Rasa Sutra. Now I know, it looks a little intimidating with all the Sanskrit, but just think of it like a master chef combining ingredients. Bharata Muni is telling us that to get the flavor of, say, heroism or sorrow, you need a really precise mix of three key things. So come on, let's break them down. Here they are: the cause, the effect, and the fleeting feelings. In Sanskrit, that's vibhava, anubhava, and vyabhichadri bhava. And here's the cool part. Every single powerful piece of art you have ever loved has these three elements working together in harmony, whether the artist was thinking about it in these terms or not. All right, first up, vibhava, the cause. This is basically the who and the where of the emotion. It's got two parts. You have the alambana, which is the object, the characters themselves. Think Romeo and Juliet. They're the emotional anchor. And then you've got the udipana. That's the environment that fans the flames. The moonlight, the balcony, the garden. It sets the mood and really cranks up the intensity. Next is anubhava. This is where the internal feeling gets broadcast to the outside world. It's the physical stuff, the actions we can actually see. So for the erotic rasa, it's not just love, it's the clever glances and the sweet words. For the pathetic rasa, it's the physical act of shedding tears. And for the furious rasa, you know it, the red eyes, the biting of the lips. This is how we, the audience, literally see the feeling. And our final ingredient, vyabhichari bhava. These are the supporting temporary feelings. The original texts describe them so beautifully, like waves rising and falling in the ocean, or bubbles forming and bursting in water. So if the main emotion is sorrow, you might also see these little flashes of anxiety, or maybe weakness or depression. They come and go, but they add this incredible depth and texture to the main emotional dish.
So there we have it. Our ingredients are on the counter: the cause, the effect, and all those fleeting feelings. But just having a pile of spices doesn't make a delicious meal. The real magic, that's in the blending. This blending process is called samyoga, and the idea here is that all those individual parts completely dissolve into one another, kind of like sugar melting into warm milk. You can't pick out the sugar or the milk anymore, can you? They've transformed into something totally new, a single, unified, and really potent flavor. Which brings up a really important question, right? Okay, so the characters are feeling all this stuff. But how do we, sitting in the audience, get to experience it without it being, our actual problem? Let's use the classic example from Indian literature. The hero Rama, grieving for his lost love Sita. As we get absorbed in the story, this amazing psychological thing happens. It's called sadarikarana, which basically means universalisation. All the specific details, this particular king, this specific drama, they all start to kind of fade into the background.
And what's left behind is the pure, universal essence of grief itself. We feel the sorrow, but we feel it without the personal sting of, oh no, I've lost my love. And that emotional distance, that's the whole key. It lets us experience these incredibly profound feelings from a safe, almost meditative space.
And all of this leads to the ultimate goal, reciprocity, the attainment of pure aesthetic bliss. In this moment, the spectator, who's now free from their own ego, their own to-do lists and worries, gets to savor a pure, transcendent joy called ananda. And this is considered the highest purpose of art in this entire tradition. So if that's the recipe, what are the actual dishes on the menu? What are the main emotional flavors an artist can cook up for us? Let's take a look at the full spectrum of experiences this whole system maps out.
There are nine primary aesthetic moods, or flavors, that are seen as the foundation for basically every artistic experience you can have.
And here they are. The Navarasa, or the 9 rasas. Each one of these flavors is tied to a core permanent human emotion. You have everything from Shringar, the erotic, which comes from love, all the way to Raudra, the furious, which comes from anger. And then you have Shanta, the peaceful, which was actually added a bit later and is linked to a state of total calm. They even have associated colors. It's like a complete sensory map of our emotional world.
Now, what makes this theory so incredible is that even though it started in India thousands of years ago, its insights are just, well, they're universal. This isn't some obscure, ancient idea. It taps into something fundamentally human, and it connects beautifully with some pretty big ideas about art from the West.
Just look at Aristotle's concepts of catharsis. Remember that? In Greek tragedy, the audience experiences pity and fear to be purged of them, like an emotional cleanse. Well, Rasa Theory gets to a very similar place. By feeling the universal grief of Rama, the audience is kind of liberated from their own personal worries, creating that safe space to process really deep stuff.
And you can see a direct link to the whole art for art's sake movement from the 19th century. The main idea there was that art doesn't need to teach you a lesson. Its value is just in the experience of it. And that is exactly the point of Rasa Theory. The whole goal is the experience itself, the rasa anubhava. The ultimate aim is that transcendent joy, that pure aesthetic bliss.
So, I'll leave you with this thought. Now that you have the recipe, the next time a piece of art really, truly gets to you, just take a second. See if you can spot the ingredients. Can you identify the cause, the physical effects, those little fleeting feelings? Can you put a name to the specific rasa that you're savoring? Will you be able to name the flavor?